Talks Tunes No, everybody. I'm your host, Dr. Todd Samra, and today we are talking about Stevie Nicks. We are also going to talk about Hildegard von Bingen, but we're talking about Stevie Nicks and both of these women together and calling this episode a celebration of the divine feminine, or of the feminine divine. We really couldn't decide. What sounds better? The feminine divine or the divine feminine? I think they're pretty synonymous, but basically this episode is celebrating two magnificent women in music who have given more to the world than just their music. So bear with me for a moment. I want to start today by going back and talking about Hildegard von Bingen because she is such an important figure historically. She was the smartest person alive in the 12th century. Matter of fact, you can look her up on Google and learn about her and learn about her death, which I don't really want to get into right now, but you can Google all that. Men and priests in general were very jealous of her because she was so smart. She was a great person. She was a German composer, poet, artist, and mystic, and she had no children. Note. At age 8, her aristocratic family sent her to be educated by Jutta von Spanheimat. That's a name for you, Spanheimat, and who was a nun herself. And at age 15, Hildegard took vows and became a nun herself. There was a convent built next to a monastery, and Hildegard became the abbess of that convent. But then she later founded another convent at Bingen, which is why we referred to her as Hildegard of Bingen. You know, back then they didn't really have last names. So she suffered from terrible migraine headaches. She had all of these terrible headaches, but these led to visions. She had all these visions, these waking dreams and all of these kind of things that would happen. And she only shared these visions with two people, Miss Jutta, who we talked about earlier, and also this gentleman. He was a monk, and his name was VOLMAR. I'll say it again, VOLMAR. Sounds like a early 1980s kids animated show. Who's the bad guy? We're fighting VOLMAR. Raise your sword. It's a great name. So anyway, she shared her visions with these two individuals. So they were pretty secret. And she kept all these journals. And from all these journals, she created a medieval morality play. And the name of that is called the Ordo Virtutem. And it's probably her greatest magnum opus, and it's a very interesting play, and it has a lot of music in it. She was very well respected. She was consulted by all kinds of people, including bishops, popes, kings, a number of people. She was very, very highly respected. And just to give you a little bit of an introduction to what her music sounded like, so basically there was always what we call a drone, a steady note. Change the melody note, but this note here is always the same, so we call it a drone. And so that's kind of the effect of what we get in this piece called O Virga. Two voices. So only one of them is moving around. One of them is moving around, the other one's staying consistent on that drone. And this is typical of a lot of her music. Continue. So it's not chant in the sense of monophonic chant, because there's two notes. But instead of those notes both moving and harmonizing, one of them establishes a drone. So it establishes a foundation of the key or as tonic. It very much works in the similar way as how a bagpipe would work with a drone. Now, I want to play something fun because I think, we should play fun stuff. In the, I guess, early 1990s, late 1980s, this guy named Richard Souther put together an album of her music, but put some beats with it. So I'm going to forward it up here. And we're going to go right about here. So it's pretty much straightforward Hildegard music, the chant with the drone. As a matter of fact, it's the same exact piece of music, actually. he's building on was the one example I played for you a moment ago. But what he's doing, he's adding in all these other instruments, keyboards and electric bass and kind of making it cool, right? Appeal to a younger audience. That's what they're thinking in the late 1980s. Hey, this medieval music stuff, we got to expose some kids to that. We'll get them hooked, and then it'll just be a never-ending market of amazing sales. Well, it's not really what happened, but there are those of us who really, really do love early music. And so Hildegard, she's this beacon. She's this mysterious person. She's surrounded by spirituality, and that comes through in all of her work, her music, her poetry, her paintings and drawings, and all of these wonderful things. So like when I'm thinking, like, who does Stevie Nicks, she's like this timeless beauty. She's the essence of femininity. She's the feminine divine. Stevie Nicks, like, where else in history does this happen before? And really, I thought Hildegard was a great kind of tie-in. So a little bit about Stevie Nicks. Stephanie Lynn Nicks, born 1948, American singer-songwriter. No children. She also had no children. She is known, of course, for her very distinctive voice, excuse me, her mystical stage persona, the way she moves around very mysteriously on stage, and her poetic and symbolic lyrics. She had over 40 top 50 hits and sold over 140 million albums. She joined Fleetwood Mac, of course, in 1975 with her then boyfriend, Lindsey Buckingham, who I love Lindsey. I love Lindsey Buckingham. I think he's a tremendous guitarist and very innovative player in his own way, very unique in many ways. And they had a kind of a tumultuous relationship, and of course the band went through all of that with them. But just to kind of move on, she was the only person, excuse me, the only woman to have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice. Once in 1998 with the band members, Lindsey Buckingham and Fleetwood Mac, and again as a solo artist in 2019. She maintained a journal throughout pretty much every day of her career since her time in Fleetwood Mac. And she once said in an interview, and I'd like to read here, "I like to tell all my fairy goddaughters and my niece that when I'm gone, they can sit on the floor and go through all these journals, and they can walk through my life, and they can smell the gardenia perfume on the pages. They can have it in their hands, who I was." And I think that really sums up who Stevie Nicks as an artist, as a musician. Is she the greatest singer of all time? I mean, she's obviously a great singer, but is she like the greatest singer? Is it really her voice that draws us to her? No, it goes way beyond simply her voice. It's her whole persona. It's who she is, and that she wants you to know who she is on the inside as an artist. She's kind of this complete artist. So she also wears that on the outside, though. She's known for these gossamer tunics and these shawls, and they've influenced a couple of generations of Stevie acolytes in terms of wardrobe. And of course, she was highly influenced by style in San Francisco and the underground stores up there. But she also wears these because she wants her performances to feel almost like Wiccan ritual. Like this is more than just a concert. It's almost like a spiritual event. And so it brings more power to it than just simply music and music alone. Now, of course, we're familiar with the piece I played at the beginning, Dreams. And just to play a small sample of this, it's 2 chords. Of course, this is co-written with Lindsey Buckingham and such. So it's only just the foundation of it. And this is the whole song. It's like an elixir. Her voice is literally like an elixir that just rests like a cloud or something on top of the water. It's just absolutely magical. It's not the music, the music per se. It's not the chords. It's not the theory. It's not the. That's not really what makes this piece gives it its genius, it's this effect, this elixir, ethereal effect that is just quite magical. The song Sara is extremely similar. It's even in the same key, same chords. Of course, it does develop, and as the song goes forward, you know, it actually runs through a set of progressions, but it still kind of revolves around this use of the tritone. I'm still stuck on Dreams in my head. But both these songs do share a relationship with one another. And really what it is that Sara has maybe a few more chords in it than Dreams has, but not much more. And it's kind of working in the same kind of way, this mysterious, feminine, elixir-like feeling with the vocals. I do want to point out before we go her song Edge of 17. Oh yeah. Same thing. Musically, not a whole lot to it. It's like 3 chords. That's not the purpose. The meaning of the song is not to show off harmonic complexity. The meaning of the song is to show off her qualities. So by simplifying the harmonic structure of a piece of music, she's able to kind of shine on top of that. Really, Stevie Nicks's magic is her music is the magic in the music, that they're really connected. They're almost like one word. And how she's able to so creatively articulate her ideas into feelings, I think, is part of what makes her so amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why female artists are so important, because they are, maybe in some cases better than men, able to articulate feelings and gestures and warmth and all of these wonderful qualities that sometimes get omitted from the music of men. We're not judging men for not including this. I think, you know, we can give examples of where men are warm and gushy too. But I think we can all glean something. We can all learn something from this aesthetic that Stevie Nicks portrays so wonderfully. And of course, I think Hildegard's music has that same kind of feel to it. So I want to encourage you to go explore those things. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Having so much fun with the show. Hope you're enjoying the show as much as we are. Please subscribe to our channel, and please tune back in next time. Thank you for joining us on Dr. Todd Talks Tunes.